What's going on, world? Is your boy Steve Dab 317 back with another reaction video. And before I jump right into things, I want to address a couple of comments that I've seen. One, I've seen people kind of asking, hey, why do you keep hitting the pause button? The reason why I do that is just trying to make it easier for me to deal with YouTube in terms of how they feel about demonetizing channels and things like that. Although doing reaction videos is completely legit, sometimes it's just a long process and a headache. So I'll pause the video to kind of one, give my insight, but also to kind of deal with that. And then I guess the second thing I want to address is like, if you follow my channel for a while, you would notice that it's more of a lifestyle channel. Like, it's predominantly cars or car related stuff. That's what I'm into a lot. But you'll also notice periodically there will be like stuff about weightlifting, stuff about cutting grass, and then reaction videos. And basically that's my way of keeping fresh content coming for people who do subscribe, so that when it's not in season for cars. So I live here in Indiana, so once it gets cold, there's not nearly as many car shows unless I have time to travel. So basically, that's where I kind of infill the information with. I know there was a lot of requests for some additional ginger reactions to that group, which I am going to get to. But this Tom MacDonald brainwash, as you can see right here on the screen, it was just kind of thrown across my plate, and I wanted to kind of catch it while the topic was hot and do a quick reaction video. Hope you all enjoy. I have not played it beyond like the first second or so, so if you see me adjusting the volume or anything like that, that's just me trying to figure out how to get the settings. I'm not using headset right now. Just moved to my new office. But anyways, long-winded enough. Let's get right to it.
Half the country fell asleep, but they scream woke. We're distracted by vaccines and TV shows. Politics, celebrity, gossip, popular neat quotes. Black lives, white lives, which lives mean most?
All right, so just to preface, the person who kind of shot this video or shot this link my way, they did say it's gonna be a controversial video. So I'm really interested to see what direction he's going with this video or with this song, because I've got, man, I'll share my opinions. I've got a lot of opinions. My opinions tend to be different from most people I encounter, but I guess it is what it is.
We only dedicate one day to remember our fallen soldiers, the men and women who died young. But if you come out the closet as Caitlyn Jenner, you're a hero and you get a whole Pride Month. The most dangerous pandemic's propaganda from these clowns. Only masses gonna save us is duct tape on their mouths. Don't speak. We don't need to defarm police, need to defarm the media who lies through their teeth like Big Pharma.
All right, so and what I'll probably do is just try to address it point by point. But in terms of what he said about the media, like, I feel like there's a lot of truth to that. One of the things that I'll say, and this is a limitation that only I'm responsible for, is, but like, I've never traveled outside the country, and I think this is fresh on my mind with everything that's going on in Afghanistan right now. But like, as someone who's lived here all my life, all I've ever heard was that the United States is this amazing country, it's the greatest country in the world. And I'm not even saying that I agree or disagree with that, but what I do realize is that, especially having children, we learn this as parents, there's always the A side to the story, the B side to the story, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. And I think that sometimes it takes traveling abroad to fully understand that, because like, I've got my perception of, America, and how great we may be and how wonderful we are to other countries in the world. But I have a feeling that a lot of people don't look at us that way. I think there's a lot of companies. I think there's a lot of countries who probably absolutely hate us, for interfering in things like that. But let me try to stay somewhat on topic. But I've got tons of opinions I'm more than willing to share with you. But let's try to keep it where he is right now.
Security dog, cause every patient that gets cured is a customer lost. The big oil runs the world, the only wars to get fought are with the countries who have natural resources they want. Heard him claiming if a white man.
All right, so it's crazy that this is kind of tying directly into where I was going with that, in terms of our involvement in other places. And I guess to some extent we all have opinions on it, right? And then some of us may even hear me saying this, like, no, what I know is absolute facts. I did two tours, all right? And granted, I'm glad you got that experience, but like I said, I haven't traveled. I haven't left the country. I've never been outside of this country. Yeah, I've not even been, yeah, I've never been outside this country. So it's like, I question the motives of many things that we do, and something else that I question is how like we oftentimes we present things in a matter of which we're helping other countries, but also there's some innocent lives that are shed as well. That I know for sure. And we look at these other countries and what they're doing in terms of, harming, women and children and things like that. But like, and not saying I condone any of that. It's wrong, absolutely. And I love the fact that we want to intervene and help. But we do our own share. We do our own share of stuff that's it's definitely questionable. And I think the media here, they're going to show us what they want us to see. But I imagine if I were to move or go hang out in another country for a prolonged period of time, I would maybe have a different perspective, and I would see things from the other side of that coin. That's all I'm getting at. And last thing, real quick, if it feels like, or if it seems like I'm unsure of what I want to say, that's not it at all. But in this day and age, you just have to try to. I don't even say you have to. It's in my best interest to try to be mindful and respectful to the opinions and viewpoints of other people. If you've been on my channel for a while, you would notice even with whether it's political, whether it's racial, whether it's spiritual, religion, like whatever it is, I try to take a very non-biased approach. I guess to some extent we all have our own biases, but I at least try to go into things with an open mind and realize that my views, my life experiences, don't dictate the way that everybody else in the world needs to look at things. So, here we go.
And braids his hair and likes rap, he's appropriating culture. But if a white man acts too white, he's white trash. He's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a monster. Let's just have the conversation.
That's another solid, man, this is going to be like a 90-minute reaction video if I go into depth about everything that I have to say, but like, I'm just going to kind of go back to that last line that he used in terms of like the way people present themselves and the assumptions that are made, and that those assumptions are made towards whites, they're made towards Hispanics, they're made towards blacks. It's just like culturally, this I can't even just say culturally. I'm just going to say this world, as far as I know it, we've got a lot of issues. I don't know the answer to these issues. Clearly, maybe none of us know the answer to these issues, but we have a lot of things that truly need to be addressed and dealt with. I think that, and he mentioned bigotry, and I think that's a huge term, because I think that most people who are racist and or bigots have no idea. Now, think about that for a minute. All right, you got your people who are outlandish and who make it known, hey, this is what I believe, this is the group I hate, and all right, neither here nor there. But the majority of people who are racist or bigots, they have no idea. That's what I think. It's like people do things or say things or hear things, and they laugh it off as a joke, like it's no big deal. Example that comes to mind, this big Karen thing, right? Somebody does something, or let's say there's a white woman who gets on her phone, or she calls the police or whatever. Okay, Karen, or right, and we do it, and we laugh. And when I say we, I don't mean like me and you. I just mean the world collectively. Not everybody, but a lot of people. They do it and they laugh and they throw that term out. But let's think about this for a minute. Let's say if this guy, let's just say if think of any white person, maybe that's you, right? If a white person was to look at every black woman who they seen on a phone, right, or seen walking into a gas station or something, or seen in the grocery store, and every time they, oh, okay, Felicia, how would we feel about that? How would you feel about that? I mean, let me know in the comments. Like, would that be cool? Like, would it just be a joke? Ha, we're being funny, we're laughing because she's on her phone? Or would it immediately be, hey, this white person is racist, they call every black woman Felicia, or, whatever stereotypical scenario you can come up with. And that was just the first one that came to mind. There's 1,000,001, but and that's what I mean when I say, like, I think most people who are racist and or bigots have no idea, because they do small things in their daily lives, and perceptions, I guess, is something that we all have, and people are always forming perceptions about us. But I truly believe there's a lot that we truly don't take the time to sit back and think about. That's why I try, going back to me kind of being mindful with what I say on here, I try to take a moment and think about what I'm saying before I say it, not only as I interpret it, but I try to think in terms of how will this be interpreted by the next person. And I don't get it right all the time. And I'm sure I mess it up a lot, but I'm human and I get that. But at least I take a moment to attempt to understand somebody else's perspective. So, all right, here we go. Like I said, I'm gonna try to keep this under 20 minutes or whatever, but sheesh.
Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors because they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them.
I feel like there's a lot of truth to that. What's really interesting is you look at the Republican Party or the history of, I'm not going to make this an extremely long, but what I will say is for any individual who feels that by default any member of the Republican Party is racist, and I kid you, there are people who believe that, or who believe that the Republican Party is against blacks, or who believes that the Republican Party is against taxation, who do some research, not what the media tells you, not what I say, just start doing some research. Look up various sources. Look at the history of those different parties. Look at whose idea was to implement taxation on the scale that, or at least towards the direction where we're headed now. And then, just like I said, just do your own research. I respect anything you believe, whether it's politics, religion, and I respect your viewpoints on what you believe as long as you do some research. If you tell me you believe this or that because, well, my parents did it, so I just did it, and there's no substance to your belief, then, I kind of question the how authentic it is. So, all right, let's keep rolling.
They can't stop us, 'cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us, but we won't let freedom die. The whole world's brainwashed. Everybody's picking keys, right in the street. The whole world's brainwashed.
So really quick, and I'm just going to speak this, and I make statements that are all inclusive myself, and I try not to, because one of the things that I learned from a wise old man once was that only fools speak in absolutes, and it's easy to just kind of speak in absolutes about any demographic or any situation, but what happens is oftentimes, there are more often than not some that slip through the cracks, and when we start doing that, we start overgeneralizing, right? And when we start overgeneralizing, we start forming these preconceived notions or these prejudices in our mind, which I can't always say it's a bad thing. Like if you are walking down a alley in the middle of the night by yourself for some reason, and it's three guys with hoodies on, and you decide, hey, I'm gonna double back and go the long way to the street. I mean, I guess you could consider that a prejudice, like you judged the situation before you actually knew what they were down there doing. But hey, it saves our life sometimes, so.
How did monkeys become people and people turned into sheep? They put fluoride in the water that's keeping us all asleep. Claimed that what was best for us, I find it hard to believe. Cause they've been selling us cigarettes since we was 18. Fake news.
I've never smoked cigarettes a day in my life. But I remember when I turned 18, I purchased some cigarettes. And I want to say, what did I want to say it was Camels, because as I remember it as a young kid, I remember how cool I thought Joe Camel. Remember Joe Camel, the sunglasses and stuff on, and thankfully it didn't catch, to the point where I began smoking ever, but neither of my parents smoked, so it wasn't allowed in our household. That probably has a lot to do with it also, but I don't know, he said that just made me think back to Joe Camel. But when I turned 18, I did go to the store and I purchased some cigarettes because I could. I don't even know what, I probably threw them away or gave them away, who knows, but.
Fake woke, distract and divide. You're either right or you're left, or you're black or you're white. Big tech don't need a microchip to hack in your life, cause the phone inside your pocket is a tracking device. And I don't know what I'm gonna sick of rappers.
Big facts. Big facts. I'll tell you what's crazy. So have you ever been having a conversation with somebody and let's say you talk about, I'm trying to think about something. Right. Let's say you talk about buying a flat screen TV or a new computer monitor. Heck, right? You have a conversation with them, and then you go to get on your phone. You get on whether it's Facebook or Google or whatever it is. You get on your phone, and all of a sudden, what are all the advertisements? Right? They're based around off the conversation you just had. You know, like I even turned off Siri on my phone because I felt like Siri spent way too much time listening. There would be times where like I'll say something to my wife and Siri would be like, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you." I'm like, "Fam, like I wasn't talking to you." Yeah, crazy. Anyways, yeah, we do got to be mindful. Sometimes I think it's important for us to disconnect as well.
Or Joe Biden looking like he ate 100 Xanax for dinner. Cause censoring the president and kicking him off Twitter is a bigger threat to freedom than foreign ballistic missiles. You don't trust the police or the government.
Ooh, man. If we get on the subject of Trump, I could probably, I don't know, maybe this will be like a live video. I invite a couple people on and we just kind of, just kick ideas back and forth or whatever. But lot of controversy around Trump, and when he talked about censoring presidents off of Twitter, I'm assuming he had to be referencing Trump when Trump was in office. But like, what's really interesting is how so many people are set on how racist he is, or if he's racist or not. But so many people, it's like a big deal, and I just think back to like, and I've loved music like all my life, but I just think about how many references have been given to Trump like over and over and over again, and how he was kind of touted like a hero in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if hero is the correct word, but you can tell people admire what he was able to accomplish, and then the media puts all this information out there. I will tell you something interesting. I was listening to one of the debates, and he said something that I think went over. Maybe a lot of people said, or it could just be the way I interpret it. But he said, in response to them calling him racist, he said, "I am the least racist person in this room." And I had to play that back a couple of times, but listen to that. I am the least racist person in this room. So what is that really saying about the people? What is that really saying about a lot of these people who are kind of running for office and smiling in individuals' face and saying, "Hey, I'm all for the people and I'm here." So it's just something to think about. Hey, was that an accurate statement? Is he misspeaking? I don't know, but it's just something something worth thinking about. And that's what I tend to do is gather a lot of information. I sit back, I listen, I think about things. And over the years, I start putting things together. And some of the stuff I figure out, some I don't. All right, let's keep rolling.
But you want people giving up the right to own a firearm. Why would you be comfortable? The police and the government, the only people on the planet with the right to buy a gun.
Listen, man, fire. You know what? I see why this is a controversial video, because there are every single thing he touches bases on. Like, I could probably stop and talk 20, 30, 40 minutes easily on it. Firearms, man. My opinions on firearms. Like, I carry a firearm. More or less, definitely when I'm with my family, because I find myself more concerned about them and their well-being and feeling like I should be a protector than I am for myself. I mean, when it comes to me, I'm sometimes I'm just indifferent. Like I've done my stuff in life, and karma's something else. So it is what it is. But like, I guess my thing is I feel most vulnerable when I'm at places or when I attend places that don't allow firearms, or who encourage you not to bring a firearm. So when you think about like, schools and churches and things like that, and it seems like some of these people who are doing a lot of these crimes, like they're targeting, like most criminals, they look for easy targets. Most of them, maybe not all, but most, right? So you look for people who rob people on the street. What do they look for? They look for older people. They look for women who are by themselves, right? They look for people who are easy target. They aim for the element of surprise, right? Dark alleys, things like that, where we can catch somebody off guard. Well, they take these assault rifles or whatever they got. That's another thing, because the media calls everything a rifle, which is, man, it grinds my gears. But they take whatever their weapon of choice is to these places where they know it's very unlikely that they're going to be met with resistance. All right, and I think that's the way the criminal mind works. Where can I do something mischievous and have the path of least resistance? Everything travels through the path. Everything. I might just cut that off. I'm just going to keep on rolling. I'm not going to edit out the video because then the video will seem not as authentic. But that's another conversation, another video. Let's talk firearms. So I love to have that conversation.
White privilege getting amplified to reinforce division. It convinces white people that they're favored by their skin, and black people getting angry because they're told they're treated different. So the conflict is between us and never with the system. Let's just have the...
Ooh, man. Hey, some heat right there. A lot of heat right there. You know, it's. I guess it begs the question: does white privilege exist? You tell me. Does white privilege exist? Put it down in the comments. Are blacks at a disadvantage? And I'm going to even go as far as saying non-whites, right? So I don't want this to be like just about blacks, whether it's Hispanics or non-whites at a disadvantage. And if you have a question about what I mean by non-whites, let me know. I'll kind of delve into that. I don't want to extend this video too long, but in terms of like when you go to fill out my application or most things you go to fill out, or even with your social security cards, how like there's whites and then there's the other categories. So I'm gonna let this keep rolling because I keep saying I don't want this to be an extremely long video, but I'm sure it's going to be.
Conversation. So. Not every liberal is dumb. Not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors because they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us because we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die. The whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them and you against me. Step one, train the people only to consume.
Where are we at? All right, it's about a minute left in the video. So, oh, by the way, I have not watched, in addition to never watching this video, I haven't looked at or listened to anyone else's reaction video. I think that's the only way to keep my reactions authentic, so I'm not persuaded. So, listen, there may be some videos where people have tons of more meaningful or useful information. This is just Steve Dabb's reaction, you know? And I may even, there's a lot in here. Like, look down in the comments, you may find me down there correcting some stuff that I've said. You know, you may find somebody makes a comment. I'm like, oh, I didn't consider that. You know, and you know, to me, being open-minded, I think is one of my greatest strengths. And the other thing is, I realize I'm not always right. Like, it's just the reality. I'm not. You know, I do what I can. I try to be right more often than I'm wrong. But hey, I drop the ball sometimes. All right, let's let this last minute roll.
Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7.
Oh, there's more steps? Okay. All right.
Fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design.
I'm not even gonna cap. Listen, that final break, I'm gonna have to do a separate reaction video to just that final breakdown. Man, that's sheesh. And hopefully I don't want you to watch this video and feel like I'm some anti-government against America. Like, that's not what I'm saying. The thing is, I just realized I don't always get it right. Everybody else in America, we're all humans. That means you don't always get it right. They don't always get it right. But I think what happens is when we get stuck in a mindset of, I know I'm right no matter what, that's where I think it gets dangerous. That's where I think it gets dangerous. We got to keep our eyes open.
They can't stop us, 'cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us, but we won't let freedom die. The whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the street. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them and you against me.
All right. You know what? I'm glad this was referred to me. I see why person who referred it mentioned that it was a timely video. So I did want to go ahead and kind of jump and get right to this. But Yeah. Hey, those are my thoughts, my reactions. If you want to know more, if you want me to elaborate about anything, let me know. If you have any questions about anything I said, put it in the comments below. If you're still here, greatly appreciate you for being here. I've got, now that I finished this, I've got a car video from like 3 weeks ago I haven't edited. I've got a ton of other car related footage, and I've got workout stuff to catch up on. But and you know what? I truly love making these videos. Now I've kind of got, this is my new office. I would show y'all around, but literally I took all the junk and pushed it like towards that corner. So there's books on the floor and my other cameras, my lighting. I'm actually just using some makeshift lights right now. My little, stuff I hang on my walls, and it's a mess. Like if you can see the other side of this camera, you'd be like, bro, like, what are you doing with yourself? So anyways, hey, thanks for checking this out. Steve Dab 317 signing off.